Togo Shiba is currently one of the strongest characters we've seen so far in Kagurabachi, with his mastery over his teleportation sorcery and calm head during tough situations. He's quickly proving to be one of the top tiers in the verse. But where does this really place him in the overall story? We don't know too much about his past, but we do know that growing up he was friends with Izami and Kunoshige, and as a former member of the Kaminabi. We don't know exactly why he quit the Kaminabi, but my personal opinion is that when the higher-ups began turning against Kunoshige, due to them believing that the blades were too dangerous, and having someone who could forge them sitting around could only lead to more destruction. I believe that he decided to stay with his friend and turned against the Kaminabi, quitting, and becoming somewhat of an uncle to our main character. In terms of fights throughout the series, we've only really seen him have two fights. The first one being against Soya, Hakuri's older brother, and is said multiple times to be the strongest member of the Sazanami clan. And he fought three members of the Sazanami clan during the auction, however that fight was mainly off-screened. But what he lacks in fights he makes up for in statements. For example, when Sojo is fighting the anti-Cloud Gouger force, he states that he wishes Sojo and Azanami were there, who we previously saw when he had just left the bathhouse, which may imply that those two scale above the rest of the anti-Cloud Gouger force. In terms of speed feats, during his fight with Soya and in his fight with other Kaizanami clan members, he outspeeds and perception boosts them on multiple times, putting him on a different level than people like Hakuri. But when Tenri uses a piece of Denton Seiki to give himself a temporary boost in power, he can no longer keep up and nearly gets one of his arms blown off by Tenri's ISO. In terms of strength, we don't really know that much right now. We've only seen him do damage to Sazanami clan members off-screen and be able to make Soya's nose bleed. But I mean, Hakuri was able to do that as well, so that isn't too much of a feat right now. There is the argument that we haven't really seen him at his strongest, because when he was fighting Tenri, he didn't really take him too seriously. And I will have agree with this, since if this is him at his strongest and he's comparable to Azumi, then the Kaminabi are just like nowhere near the Shaku's level. So where I would rank him overall compared to the rest of the verse, he's definitely above someone like the Cloud Gouger Forge, and you can have a pretty big argument if you want to say he's above Sojo, but I don't believe he's above characters like Yuki, due to her just being the Kaminabi's strongest soldier, and if he's comparable to Azami, then he must be below Hiyuki. So compared to the rest of the alive characters in the verse, I believe he's probably the 4th or 5th strongest. I believe he is probably weaker than Hiyuki, Chihiro, and Johnny Shoka, but I would probably say he's stronger than Azami, due to just not seeing Azami do anything besides beat up two no-names with no sorcery, make Oni Mask run away, and like sit behind a desk like Akainu. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is like the first time I've ever done this, and I do have other stuff I'd like to do, like a Kaizanai slander video, because I live to hate that guy. And I like to shout out Kagurabachi Brazil for the guy who got me into this, due to him just like constantly appearing on my Twitter timeline. And get ready for some more videos in the future.